tight warm up, man. Keep it up.
Whoa, great! Oh no, big mistake! Edwards got back to absolute and down to 10. It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to you to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the city of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, for round 4 of the World Championship season here in Formula Sim Racing. We've got a fabulous action-packed 70 laps for you this afternoon, particularly if the Pro and the Ace race are anything to go by, because they were absolute sensational events with lead changes in the final 2 or 3 laps. We've got 2 world champions on the grid. We've got 2 race winners who happen to be other drivers, and it is all to play for. So we're looking forward to a great afternoon of racing on this very dramatic track here. 70-lap event, and certainly in the warm-up, Journey Simicic was showing really stunning form, showing almost a quarter of a second gap to the rest of the field. He's renowned for his pace here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and I'm joined in the commentary box by Peter Schulze. How are you, Peter?
I'm good, David. Thanks. How are you?
Very well. Pleasure to be here with you, and assuming race director duties and perhaps occasionally giving us a little bit of a hand or some insight is Cameron Rodger, who had a pretty good race in Pro this afternoon earlier. Welcome to you as well, Cameron.
Hello, thank you.
So we're about 2.5 minutes into the quali session. We've had only one person so far post the time, so it's the real action will happen in just a few minutes as the track rubbers in, and these opening laps drivers are getting their eye in. As normal, they'll get 12 laps to play with, which will normally mean 4 sessions of an out lap, a hot lap, and an in lap, unless they make a mistake and lose a lap. So action's gonna hot up there. We certainly in the practice that's just finished, we saw 8 drivers go into the 1 minute 9 second area. So the guys aren't at peak pace yet. And we've had a lot of drama this afternoon. It's a very challenging track, a lot of accelerating, a lot of braking. And whereas last race in France at Circuit Paul Ricard, the balance of the car was all about getting front grip and stopping front tyres from wearing out, here it's all about traction and top speed. So, yep, should be a very exciting afternoon. So without much further general intro, we'll get into it and start having a look at what's happening in qualifying. And Journey Simicic has just gone purple in Sector 1 and a PB in Sector 2, so it looks like Journey's on a hot one. And so I'm just going to try and pick him up.
Yeah, in the practice session earlier, Journey did get the fastest lap time, so we would expect him to be the one going for pole position today, and he's just set a 9.4, which is, I think, the fastest lap time we've seen so far, including Ace and Pro as well, so he's definitely looking the man for pole position today.
Yes, there was a bit of banter before we came on air. The drivers were chatting, and I think one of the other drivers, a Ghost Speed driver, said to Journey, please be kind to us today. I think the other guys on the grid are expecting Journey to be quite sensational here in qualifying, and he's not letting them down. So what else have we got here? It's no one else setting the timing alight at the moment. This just by the way, for any, we know we've got some die-hard fans who are with us every event, but for anybody who's new to this event, the sim we run is rFactor 2, and this vehicle is modelled on a contemporary Formula 1 car. So we've got a lot of downforce. The car's quite wide and 820 horsepower with 7 fuel mix settings and also a quali boost and DRS. So the drivers are pretty active in the cockpit, making the various adjustments as they race. And in fact, the rear anti-roll bar is adjustable as well. Michele D'Alessandro, who is leading the championship chase at the moment, has just done a PB in Sector 1. So we might just have it, although it's his opening lap, so of course it's a PB. But it looks pretty quick, if not it's not the quickest, it's probably about P3, P4 in terms of the opening sector. Michele's had 2 fabulous races. He's won the last 2, and he and Journey are the 2 race winners so far. So Michele's gone into provisional P3 with that, and well into the 109s. Jim Paresis was fast in practice too. Michele's sector 3 was the fastest sector of the session. So Jim Paresis is showing a lot of pace here, and he was also quick last time out at Paul Ricard. So Jim seems to be liking this particular car.
Yeah, we've got Felix van Delft coming to the line now. What can he do? Only P11 when he was spins into pit entry. Yeah, P11 on 10.3 for the Twister driver. He actually has a 5-place grid penalty coming towards him as well, so he needs to get as high as he can to avoid big damage from that penalty.
So Felix has had a busy afternoon. He helped coordinate the stream for Pro, and then he commentated in Ace, and now he's on the grid racing in World Championship. So he'll be seeing this circuit in his sleep after his efforts today. Martin Gosby has just had a PB, but that's probably because it's his first lap in Sector 1. And Villa La Pala is at a personal best in Sector 1 as well.
Just looking at George Monosakis currently in P2, he's on a hard lap as well. Just going through Sector 1, coming to the end of Sector 1. It's coming up to a bit of traffic now through turn 5 and 6. But no problem clearing the traffic there. Personal best in Sector 1, 90.3. I think a bit slower than Journey. Going through turn 8 and 9 now. Well done. There, had a good line. Now coming into the tricky hairpin. You need good traction out of here. You will have a bit of split screen. Oh no, he won't. The car went out of his way. The exit of the hairpin didn't look that good. He had a bit of oversteer, had a bit of problem putting the power down. Let's see what he can do in the last chicane. Taking a lot of curves. Not going into the Wall of Champions, no, just a track race onto the finish line.
Well, that's taken him down to within 0.138 of Simincic, so that is a very, very quick lap in the mid-109s. So that was a good one to spot. It's interesting you mentioned the exit of the hairpin. There's quite a few places on this track that comes to mind, and particularly the turn 6 and 7 chicane come to mind, where the driver has just got to weigh up the risk and reward of getting on the throttle too aggressively on exit, because the car, particularly the turn 6-7, just wants to rotate.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. What I just noticed, I was watching Kirill Birikov here. He was going down the back straight now on the start-finish straight, and he was hitting the ref limiter like halfway through the straight already.
Well, that's a problem for him, because if he's completed a lap, he can't change the gearing.
This also means if you're slipstreaming in the race, trying to overtake people, you will have a problem. Because you only hit 325 kph there down the straight and was already on a ref limiter, and we saw higher top speeds earlier in Pro and Ace in the slipstream with DS.
Well, indeed, I'm looking here. Michele D'Alessandro's hit 341k on the straight, and most of the other drivers, well, there's a couple of hit 341, one 342. So yeah, he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck with that top speed, unfortunately.
Just looking at Johnny Simincic now going through the last chicane. Let's see if you... I actually can't see you. You have to help me out because the live streaming.
He did go quicker. He went from a 109.484 to a 109.256. So he's getting incredibly low in the 109s now, and that also now gives him a gap over provisional P2 of 0.338 of a second, which is a massive gap. It's a massive gap in World Championship, and it's a massive gap here in Canada, because this track traditionally closes up the grid very, very tightly. and it has done for everybody but Journey. P2 to P10 are separated by 0.4 of a second, and Journey is that far ahead of P2 almost. So he is just in a league of his own in terms of quali pace here today. Sensational. Michele has gone very quick in Sector 1, but lost out a bit in Sector 2. Michele D'Alessandro just going through the chicane now. Bit of a touch on the wall. Not looking like a sensational lap, but let's see what he does. No, it doesn't improve. In fact, that was a 1:10.139, just that little bit scrappy. Because, of course, what happens at this end of the proceedings, the track's rubbering in a bit, so there's opportunity to go faster, but along with that, there's massive pressure. When you're starting to brake later and cut all the lines fine and make the track wider, and these guys are taking it to the limit, and it's not easy to stay calm and composed when you're doing that. Briac is just starting a hot lap now, so we might even have a little look on board with him if that's convenient. Entering the, it's called the Senna S, the turn 1-2 complex, bringing the car up at the same time as rotating it, and then getting on the throttle as early as you dare. You can see Peter fighting a bit of throttle oversteer there as he approaches 3-4. Good line through there, carrying good speed. This is probably the only flat out corner on the track. Turn 6 and 7, where you're trying to rotate the car and get the power down and fight any wheel spin. Car's looking very planted through there, actually, in Peter's hands. Looking strong through the casino chicane and heading up now to the 180-degree casino hairpin. Apex is nice and late to optimise his exit, and that to me is looking pretty good. It's off the pace in terms of what Journey's achieved, but it might well move him up. So P7 at the moment with a 109.827. Will he perhaps go to a mid 109? Well, he takes 1/10 of a second off his time and moves up 2 places into 5th. So that's a solid run. And Peter's only used 2 of his 4. So we can see a bit more from Peter again. Sander Callis has just done a PB with a 109.6 to move into P4. He's taken a whopping 0.339 of a second out of his first run. So who have we got up the front? Tell you who's coming in to do his 3rd hot lap is Jim Parizis, who's currently lying 2nd. Mo Patel has just gone PBs in Sector 1, Sector 2, but not stunning laps. We might ride with Peter, Jim Parizis, if that's okay. Entering the turn 1-2 complex, very committed on entry, rotates the car beautifully, gets the throttle and a little bit of throttle oversteer, but nothing that should cost him any time, and looking very, very committed. Takes as much curb as possible and right to the edge of the track on the exit of the 3-4 chicane. Approaching 6-7, and a bit of the front washes out there, but he seems to get rear grip and gets the power down very, very well on exit. So no, he's not happy with that, and Jim is pulling out of that lap. So he would have seen his delta and seen that it wasn't really happening for him. So 5 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the qualifying session, and drivers will be setting themselves now. They can't make any real adjustments to the car. They can adjust some very minor things like brake pressure, front wing, perhaps steering lock, anti-roll bar, and that's it. The rest of it is subject to parc ferme. So as the track rubbers in, they can make some very subtle tweaks to optimise the car's performance.
We just saw Martin Gosby setting a personal best, going up to P9. Then Elvis Muscioli went faster as well. It's now up to P2, actually.
Well, that's incredible. Gosby took 0.5 off his PB and moved up from 11th to 9th. That's how tight it is in there. Now, where's Callis? Callis has pulled out of the lap.
Just taking a look at Felix van der Aert, going into the hairpin now. Set a personal best sector 1. Sector 2 wasn't the best for him, but still quite decent. He's now on the long straight towards the last chicane. Had quite a good exit out of the chicane, out of the hairpin, I mean. Let's see. Takes quite a lot of curb through the chicane. Has a bit of oversteer next to the wall of champions, but overall a good corner there. And he goes up. Doesn't improve actually. Improves his time, but he doesn't go up in the standings.
Yeah, only 300ths improvement in lap time there. He was certainly very aggressive through that final chicane. I tell you what, these guys don't leave anything on the table when it comes to the final chicane. So 3 minutes 39 remaining. Journey leaving the pits now. Journey still has 2 shots. He still has 2 arrows in his quiver. Masculi, who's provisionally number 2, he is now on his final. Well, he's on his final outlap, setting himself for his final attempt. Sander Callis as well, I think, will only get 1 more shot. He's on an outlap. Briac looks like he's just finishing a hot lap, but no, he's retired from that lap. And the benefit of doing that means he's not going to trigger another lap as he crosses the line. Journey's on an outlap, bringing his tyres in.
Umut Patel currently on the back straight, close to finishing his lap. His sector times are not the best, so I'm surprised he keeps on going. Yeah, he also messed up the last chicane and abandoned his lap.
Yeah. Well, we might be worth having. Should we perhaps have a look at Masculi? He's at the moment provisionally P2, and he's just setting himself up for his final flying lap. So he'll be going absolutely maximum attack. So Masculi's gassing it up down the main straight, hitting about 318 kph before he pulls the car up and puts it sideways into the turn 1, turn 2 complex. Pretty clean exit. A lot of throttle. How much curb will he take here? The 3/4 chicane. Touches the wall slightly. Shouldn't slow him down. Brakes very late here for the 6-7. Gets the car rotated. Front seems to hold. He's got the throttle down. This is looking quite good to me, but we got a bit of grass there. Not a bad sector 1. Straightens out the casino chicane as much as possible. And let's see how late he brakes for the 180-degree hairpin, giving maximum. He slid the tail out there, but it seemed to work for him. He'd have overheated his rear slightly. Meanwhile, Journey's gone purple in sector 1, which is a pretty ominous sign. And I can't see Masculi's DRS open. I don't know if it's a glitch on what I'm watching here. No, he'd abandoned that lap. Wasn't happy with the lap. So that is the end. There'll be no more challenge for Masculi. So in the meantime, I guess we can catch Journey, who's done a PB in sector 1 and a very solid sector 2. Pretty scary news for the rest of the grid. No, and Journey's retired from that. Journey touched the barrier. And that's going to be it from Journey. There's only 50 seconds left. So unless you're on the track and have already started your outlap, you won't get to put another lap in.
Jerne didn't do all of his laps. He's only done 9 out of the 12 allocated. So
and only put 2 lap times in.
There. Yeah, he's missed a run there, unfortunately, but he's 3 tenths ahead of everyone else.
Well, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, even second to 6th is not even a tenth. It's 0.8 of a tenth. So,
well, yeah, second place to 12th place is a quarter of a second. And,
awesome.
and Journey's got more than that on second place. So it is an unbelievable gap. Jim Paris has had a lot of throttle oversteer, exit of 6-7. Manitsakis is still out there. Mo Patel, is he going to sneak under the radar? Mo's got PBs in sector 1 and sector 2, but not stunning PBs. And he's coming up the final straight now.
Important thing for Mo will be if he can nail the final chicane. He seems to have a bit of a problem nailing the chicane in his last runs. This looked much better than the run before.
That did look very tidy.
Yeah.
He improved, but he didn't improve his position. He improved 0.03 of a second.
It is so tight.
Martin Gosby just finishing his lap with his second. Wow, he's gone third. Wow.
Wow.
9.5.
Wow.
That was a big jump on the table. He was down in 11th place. He's now up to third place. That surprised me.
Jumped from 11th to third with a gain of 0.228. So he's, that's a very worthwhile gain.
And James Sadler's bottled the last chicane. So that is it. That is your grid for today. Actually, there's a couple of grid penalties, but that is definitely your pole position of Jernej Simoncic by 0.3 of a second to everyone else. What a lap. What a driver that is.
I don't think we've seen a gap that big at Canada, not that I can remember anyway. So Jernej is absolutely on fire. And I know as all of these guys have, Jerniej's been doing a lot of setup work. But at this level, everybody does. There's been a lot of toing and froing with setups. Robin Pansar is one of the guys who does a lot of work on setup within the ACR outfit. So yeah, amazing qualifying performance from Jernej. He's just got to get the strategy right. Looking back to the last race at Circuit Paul Ricard, it was just such a battle between Jernej and Michi fighting Mohamed Patel and Peter Briac. And of course, Patel and Briac prevailed in that particular battle with a little bit smarter strategy.
I would say now that the qualifying is finished, we will go to a short break and we will be back shortly before the race starts.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play?
Yeah, after I play first.
You know, I'll race it for it.
Well, I have a hand.
go, keep it up.
Whoa, great! Oh no, big mistake! Edwards got back last and down to 10. No, Eric Aldridge! It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The drivers have completed warm-up where they take their 1 minute and 9 second missile and get used to it being a sort of 1 minute 14 car with 140 litres of fuel and not as much boost and perhaps some subtle changes to front wing levels, etc. But essentially get used to the handling balance and the braking points of the car with the full fuel load and no longer in quali trim. And the drivers will be heading to the grid shortly and starting their formation lap. And I think Peter Schulze is ready to run you through the grid order.
Yes, I am. Let's take a look. So we have Eros Mascioli in P1 with a 109.5. Martin Gospi in P2. Actually, sorry, there's a mistake. We have Journey Simichich missing on the graphics. So Journey is P1, of course. Eros Mascioli is in P2. Martin Gospi in P3. Jim Paresis is in P4. Manusakis in P5. Then we have Daniel Kish in P6. It's not Journey in P6, that's a mistake. Then we have Sander Carlos in P7. David Crago in P8. We have Peter Brilyak in P9. Mohamed Patel in 10. Michele Di Alessandro in P11, of course. Germanos Zappala in P12. Marco Conti in P13. With Michi Hoyer next to him in P14. Behind them are Florian Becker and Kirill Burukov in P15 and 16. Then we have Ville Lapala and Felix van Dalft in P17 and P18. We have Sergi Herras and James Sedler in P19 and P20. Remco Major and Manuel Martini 21 and 22. And then Manuel Bianco Lilla in P23. Harley Hamnet will start from the pits, and I think we have another pit lane starter.
Marek Godek.
Exactly. And I have to
So
say,
it's
quite a surprise to see Mohamed Patel in P10 and Michele Di Alessandro in P11, seeing the last 3 races where they basically were up there in front with Simichich all the time.
Well, it's intriguing from a championship perspective. I won't run you through the entire championship standings, but suffice to say, Michele Di Alessandro is leading with 68 points after 2 victories. Journey Simichich is lying second with 50 points after 1 victory back in round 1 in Melbourne. But Journey is in P1 on the grid and Di Alessandro is in P11 on the grid. So this is really the chance for the Empire to strike back. I know Journey's very, very hungry for a win. There's 2 world champions on this grid, and there's 2 guys who plan to become the world champion in 2018. And by them, I mean Michele Di Alessandro and Journey Simichich. So the fight is really on between these guys. It's Journey's opportunity to really put some points into the gap between him and Michele. Going to be intriguing with pit stops. These cars with 141 litres of fuel, they're heavy on tyres, and you can't go quick and save tyres here. So we can potentially look at our first stops occurring as early as lap 10, 11 and 12. Any thoughts on tyre strategy, Peter?
I think it will be 3 and 4 stops, seeing that Ace and Pro earlier were mostly 2 stops and some 3 stops. I expect most of them here 3 stopping.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the cars are heavier, but the drivers are better as well. These are the very, very best drivers in Formula Sim racing, and that really definitionally means the very, very best drivers in sim racing on planet Earth. We've got a familiar face back on the grid, Daniel Kiss, who sort of retired after last season. He has now accepted a full-time seat with Netrex Grand Prix, so fabulous to see Daniel Kiss, really talented driver, back on the grid. And Remco Major and Harley Hamnet are now, their team is now called Torrent. Same drivers, different team, formerly known as Drillers. So as the drivers approach the grid now, they're trying to get some heat into the tyres and heat into the brakes, but keep the heat out of the engine because you don't want a smoking engine on the grid, and just moving themselves into position to start the first of 70 laps. And it's going to be a case of measuring aggression and patience in Sector 1 here, because there's always the feeling of opportunity. But here in Canada, to finish first you have to finish. But I'm hoping and thinking that at World Championship level, we should get a fairly clean Sector 1. We have got the spectacle of a couple of quick guys up the back. I don't think D'Alessandro will plan on staying in 11th for long. Peter, do you want to take the action away from the start?
Oh, sure, I can.
Awesome.
The last people on the grid are lining up now in the background. We can see the pit lane starters are moving to the end of the pit lane. And as soon as the last guy on the pit straight will move into his grid slot, the lights should come on.
Bianca Leela has just stopped in his box, in his go slot.
The lights should come on any second now. And there we are. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go. It's a good start from Johnny Simoncic. I think everyone so far has a pretty decent start there. Oh, there's a bit of a dive bomb into turn 1 by Michele D'Alessandro, but so far it's a pretty clean turn 1 and turn 2. There's a bit of smoke in the background from the engines and from people going onto the grass, but it looks like it was a pretty clean start by everyone. Yeah,
indeed. They've gotten away very well so far, Sector 1.
Martin Gosby managed to jump Eros Masciuli at the start. I just saw he's in P2 following Johnny Simoncic through turn 5 and 6 there.
So the top 10 very evenly matched on pace, as we know. D'Alessandro and Hoy are duking it out over P11 as they enter the casino chicane. And Journey Simoncic approaching the hairpin for the first time. Now the drivers have got to watch fuel consumption. They can only afford to spend 1.96 litres a lap here with the tank size and with the number of laps. So they've got to decide when they're going to use a higher mix. And Matsakis has just attacked Masciuli, just flown by him without the benefit of DRS. So Matsakis has moved into P3 with a very easy pass on Masciuli. Was it Masciuli's top speed we spoke about earlier, Peter?
It was Birukov's top speed. I think Matsakis might have just turned the engine up for the first lap and overtook Masciuli.
Well, let's put him into a podium spot. Now the old firm of Briac and Patel, P9, P10, we're not used to seeing that. Both world champions. So we'll see what they can dig up in terms of strategy and performance over the next hour and a half. So 1 lap completed.
And funnily enough, the leading battle of the last 3 races, Peter Briliak, Mohamed Patel, Michele D'Alessandro, Michi Hoyer, all battling each other, but instead for P1 they're battling for P9.
Well, interesting call, because that was an electrifying fight back in circuit Paul Ricard. And of course, D'Alessandro had pulled a massive gap, and the other guys were just fighting it out with Journey. But this time, Journey's out the front. He's almost cleared DRS zone from Gosby. He's got 0.751 of a second, and Journey will, if at all possible, he would like to break the DRS toe, and by that I mean be outside a 1 second gap, which then denies Gosby the opportunity to just latch onto the back of him using DRS, because both these long straights offer DRS. It's a deceptive track, this. You head up the island and turn around and come back down the island.
I wonder if the Musto boys have gone for a more race setup, although the lap times in quali were very close. So even though they're sort of 9, 10, 11, 13 at the moment, they're obviously only like hundredths of those places above them in quali. So I wonder if they've gone for a slightly more race setup, maybe trying to save the rear tyres a little bit, because the rear tyre really is the issue around this track. Because of all the traction zones, it's so easy to burn them up. So we'll have to see how their lap counts go regarding everyone else, although Michele is on the soft tyres.
Yeah, that's a very plausible theory, Cameron, for sure. The other thing that comes to mind is that this and Monza, they're quite unique tracks in that it's all about stop-go. It's all about longitudinal performance. And, you know, people have a tendency to set their cars up in a certain way. And Peter and Mo Patel both clearly set their car up beautifully for the last track we did for Paul Ricard, which involved a lot of sort of constant radius, long, high G corners. And maybe their preference in car setup just doesn't really suit this kind of stop-start environment. But it's all going to unfold. That's what we're here. That's what we're here to see. Gosby holding on to the back of Simičić. It's still 0.79 of a second now. I'm sure Gosby would like to see a podium again. He gave us a fantastic win at his home Grand Prix last season in Silverstone. Manitsakis just a touchback, 1.6 off the lead. And then another 1.5 seconds to Masciuli. Parisas really very close to the back of Masciuli. And in fact, looking as though he's going to perhaps make another victim out of him. Masciuli having lost P3 a lap or two ago. Parisas is going to have a DRS shot at him. I'm just looking at Parisas now. He's open DRS. And let's see, seems to be pulling him in. But not in leaps and bounds. Masciuli goes partially defensive into the final chicane. He knows Parisas is there. Parisas will get DRS open again on the pit straight, which doesn't, in all honesty, provide a fantastic opportunity for overtaking. And Jim Parisas very skillfully makes a liar out of me there by grabbing P4 from Masciuli. So that must be a bit frustrating for Eros Masciuli at the moment. He's just falling back down the grid a little bit. But you never know, his car balance might come to him as these tyres wear a little bit.
Yeah, the run down to turn one is just about long enough to make an overtake, but it's really dependent on how badly the car ahead gets the exit of the last chicane, because it's such a crucial corner that if you defend into that last chicane, you're just going to be eaten up because your exit's going to be so bad.
I tell you, whose attack there was worth the price of admission was Ivan Leonov in Pro, when he retook the lead from Chan White with a beautiful move around the outside into turn one, which became the inside in turn two. That was just a very, very sweet overtake. Let's see if Masciuli should have some DRS now on Parisas. Yes, he opens DRS. I'm going to have a bit of a look at his speed.
But we have Daniel Kishnell right behind Masciuli, also in DRS, making a move down the straight into the chicane.
Whoa!
And he's ahead of Masciuli. And what we saw right here was Masciuli was slower with DRS than before without DRS, so I think he was using his engine mixes to defend against Parisas earlier.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Well, Kiss is just wow. Let's talk about rubbing salt into the wound. DRS open and attacking, and somebody else flies past you. So Eros is in for a bit of a frustrating afternoon as he moves down the grid from what was P3.
P2 actually.
Oh, P2. Oh yeah, he lost one at the start, didn't he, to Gosby?
And another interesting battle we have right now is Michele Di Alessandro and Michi Hoyer on P11 and 12, and that's because both of them started on soft tires. All of them in front are on super softs, ultra softs, I mean, sorry. And I think Michele Di Alessandro is about to lose his DRS from Mehmet Patel, so Michi Hoyer still close to him within the DRS window. And if Michele loses his DRS, he's very, very vulnerable to Michi Hoyer.
Michele is playing a good game at the moment. He's a second behind Mu, as you just said, but because he's on the soft tyres, if he doesn't lose any time to this leading pack, which at the moment he isn't really, he's still part of the train, that set of soft tyres is going to play him in, possibly even into the top 5 battle later on, depending on how long he can take them and what his strategy is going to be. The soft tyres can go possibly even double what the ultra softs can go, if possible, so it's going to play into his hands in about 10-15 laps time.
Yeah, no, good call, because of course he's on a tyre that is 2 compounds harder and slower than what the lead group is on, and they're staying, relatively within touching distance. If we take the top 3 out of the equation, they're only 6 seconds out after 6 laps. And of course, the balance will come to them because the boys on the disposable tyre, the ultra soft, in another lap or two, that tyre will start to go away from them a little bit. Manitsakis is getting very, very close to Gosby. Certainly close enough for a DRS attack. And I'm just watching him now on the main straight. And if the way he disposed of Masculi earlier is anything to go by, yeah, he's really got a big overspeed on Gosby. Gosby is staying there, making his presence felt. The two of them just managed to get through the chicane with a little bit of banging, side-by-side contact. That is so scary, trying to go through there with anybody else. And Manitsakis pulls it off. His car is flying here.
Yeah, the edge guys are looking very quick in second and fourth right now, and I'm sure in a lap or so, Jim will be all over the back of Martin Gosby as well. But yeah, Martin tried to hold on to that P2 as long as he could, but George was a very fierce competitor there. That was
brave defence, saying, "Yeah, I'll come through this chicane with you."
Yeah. They barely had contact as well.
Well, they had it
side by side in that chicane.
Yeah, they had a side-by-side touch as they exited. But I tell you who this is helping. A Journey has now got a 2-second gap due to that bit of a dogfight that these boys are in. And Manitsakis will be doing very, very well to get DRS on Journey. Meanwhile, of course, Martin, I think he's got a pretty quick car. Martin will have DRS this time around on Manitsakis, and let's see what he can do.
I think he's quite a long way back from Manitsakis now.
He is. He has opened DRS, which will pull him up a bit.
Further on the back, we have Peter Briliak, close to the rear wing of David Krakow. Both have DRS. But yeah, I don't think Peter Briliak can make a move. He's also coasting at the end of the straight to save a bit of fuel.
He closed the DRS about 100 meters before the braking zones. Obviously, try and save a bit of fuel in the slipstream, because it's actually quite difficult to save fuel here. Because, I mean, if you didn't know, there's 7 mixtures, but in the race you can only really sort of run on mix 2. So obviously, to save fuel, you have to be less than that, and you've only got 1 mixture below. So it is quite difficult to save fuel. So when you're in the slipstream, it is a smart idea just to lift off, or just to use the DRS to help you save fuel because of the reduction in drag.
Yeah, no, good point, because this track essentially you're accelerating flat out the whole time, or you're in a braking zone really. So saving fuel is a very, very tricky skill. Gosby's still pretty close to Manitsakis as they come around that the casino hairpin again. Still within 0.8, so you'll get a DRS shot. And yeah, like you're suggesting, Cameron, some of these guys might just turn their mix down and use DRS to stay in touch, run the straight on mix 1 with DRS open, and just put a bit of fuel margin in the bank for use when they really need it later.
Sorry, David. Mitchie Hoyer is close to making a move on Michele D'Alessandro. Tried to go up the inside, having a little peek there, but was braking earlier than Mick and didn't go past him.
Just behind them is a really big battle behind Manuel Biancalilla. Biancalilla started last after a grid penalty from last time out, but he's got this big train of Lapella, Zappella, Becker, Eras, lots of people behind him. I think it's about 5-6 cars there. And oh, who's that? Yeah, Sergi Eras overtaking his teammate Florian Becker now into turn 3, but this is a big battle behind. And I see Remco Major is DNF a couple of laps ago. I'm not sure how that happened though. I'll have a quick look.
Having a look at while you do that, having a look at the gaps to the lead with D'Alessandro and Hoyer. They are battling at the moment, I think, for the race lead once the first pit stops happen, because they're 12 seconds back, and within a couple of laps, all the Ultrasoft runners will pit, and these boys will temporarily at least be running in the lead.
Yeah, it seems Major just pulled over because it says DNF. He didn't have damage or anything, so not really too sure. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it today, but yeah, he's DNF, unfortunately.
Ooh, and David Krakow tried to make a move onto Sander Cullis. They made contact into turn 2. Both had a little bit of a half spin, but they managed to continue, but lost a lot of time. And now they have Peter Briliak again wide behind David Krakow. David Krakow managed to make quite a gap to Peter Briliak, but now it's a 3-way fight. With Mu Patel, even a 4-way fight for P7.
Fun fact for you, D'Alessandro and Hoyer are now as quick as all the leaders except for Journey on their soft tyre.
Yeah, the Ultrasoft will be coming towards the end of their life in the next sort of 5, well, up to 5 laps, you'll see people carrying on. But once the Ultrasofts go off a little bit and you start sliding, that's just game over. So that's possibly what's happening to Callas here a little bit with this little train behind. However, I would expect the guys to go a few more laps than this. And Paresis ahead of Gosby.
And we have David Greco again making a move onto Sander Carlos into the hairpin. This time he managed to make it stick, and now we have Peter Priliak side by side with Sander Carlos, I think.
And Patel's also joining in this battle.
But Priliak not making the move on Carlos yet.
Yeah, so Jim Paresis got past Martin Gosby there. I think it was into the chicane. I just saw it in the distance. So the two Edge boys now into P2 and P3, so it's good showing from them so far. But Gosby's still got a nice 1.5 second gap to Daniel Kish as well.
Journey is running metronomic times out the front here in clear air and without anybody breathing down his neck. His last 4 laps were 14.9, 14.6, 14.8, 14.9. So he's running a very good race at the moment.
Did he not do this last year? This was his first win of last year, if I remember, because Patel had won every race up until this point, and then Yerne comes out and obliterates the field, and it seems he's almost doing that again as well. So this track obviously suits Yerne.
We'll have to start calling him Yerne Hamilton or Lewis Simincic with such strength at Canada. Oh, Manitsakis has entered the pits.
Already?
After 12 laps.
Oh, we have the same in the back. Peter Priliak just overtook Sander Carlos, who then went straight into the pit lane.
Yeah. So Manitsakis is back out on another set of the Ultrasoft tyres. Not really too sure what strategy people are going to be doing just yet, because if we're looking at 4 stops, we'll only really know once you get to the 2nd and 3rd pit stop. Florian Becker, who started on the Super Softs, is also in the pit. So if he's starting on the Super Softs and pitting now, he's probably doing a 4-stop strategy. He's gone on to the Ultra Softs.
Well, yeah, definitely. If he's gone from Super Soft to Ultra Soft after 12 laps, I would say definitely that's a 4-stopper, because he's going to struggle to do more than 12 laps on the softer tyre. And sometimes guys just don't like a certain tyre. I remember last time out at Paul Ricard, a couple of the guys were saying, well, we just couldn't get any performance out of the softer compound, so we went for the harder compound. Thank you very much. So it wasn't so much a strategic thing as that they just preferred that tyre under race conditions. And you mentioned earlier, Cameron, that once they start spinning them up and start, Journey is into the pits.
Ooh.
Leader into the pits.
Ooh, is everyone else?
And Paresis after him.
Gosby
after him.
Interesting.
Kiss continues on. So Kiss will assume the lead briefly.
Everyone from Priliak downwards is continuing. Greco as well.
Oh, so Paresis has taken these ultra soft tyres, but Gosby has taken the soft tyres, and Simincic has taken the super soft. So they've all got a completely different idea on how they're going to run this race. But Yerne comes back out in P8 in a nice little gap towards his teammate Michi Hoyer, who hasn't stopped yet, obviously. And where's Gosby? Gosby's P15. And who else was it? Jim. Oh wow, Gosby's come out behind a big train of cars. Eras, Sapella, Biancalilla, Lapella, all in front of him, and then Jim Paresis. So that has not worked out well for Gosby at all.
This will hurt him massively. Sergi, his teammate from his sister team on Flag to Flag, should let him through as soon as possible. Do not cost him too much time. And yeah, the problem is Martin has.
That's a massive train, isn't it, ahead of Gosby? He's not going to be smiling at the moment.
And Sergi is battling as well, so all of the cars in front of him are battling with each other. Overtaking them will be pretty hard.
Well, Hoyer will obviously enough make life easy for Journey on the way through. Now
pits,
Kiss,
Greco
Masculi and Greco all pitting.
Now we have Martin Gosby making a move on Sergi. I think Sergi let him through there a little bit. Further ahead in front of Gosby, Sapala and Biancalilla are battling with each other.
Wow, Big Battle coming out the pit lane. Got Masculi, Kiss and Greco literally touching bumper to bumper. Where are they coming out regarding... Okay, so they're already through. So yeah, they are in their position they should be.
And Kiss is battling with Callas already as he leaves the pit lane on soft tyres. He's got Callas on the ultra softs, but manages to prevail. Great driving from Kiss.
No team orders at NetRex.
Now, Journey's still got a second or so to pull up to Hoyer, and I'm wondering if D'Alessandro will sacrifice his race, do a bit of a Kimi Räikkönen, and stay out a bit longer to try to be a pain in the neck for Simičić. But I can't see that being productive. He's got to run his own race and climb up through the order as quickly as he possibly can.
Oh, a hairpin. Sergio Harris has gone onto the grass and Zappella has got past him. But before that, Martin Gosby got past Zappella himself down in the chicane under the bridge. And in front of that, Bianca Lilla is going for a pass on Ville, who has slowed... What? Ville has slowed down quite a bit there. That's interesting. And Gosby has got through as well, and he's now looking at Bianca Lilla. Can Gosby get about 4 overtakes done this lap? Very tight side by side into turn 1. He's going to be very tight again through turn 2. He's leaving him space. It's nice racing. Can he get the traction? Yes, he can. He's going to have the line into turn 3. It's Gosby. So Gosby has overtaken 4 cars in the space of a lap and a bit.
That's got to go into the highlights package.
Yeah, he now needs to chase down Jim Paresis for, what is that, a net P3 that Paresis is in. So he's lost a bit of time. He lost 3 seconds. But he's by no means out of it because he is on the soft tyre, which is going to bring him into play later on because Paresis is obviously going on an aggressive strategy with his ultra softs. Same for Manusakis.
So Simičić is going to get a DRS slingshot from Hoyer this time to hopefully propel him up the road a bit.
Will the Musto guys pit this lap? Let's have a look.
They won't.
Broliak, yes. Patel, yes.
Alessandro, no.
Alessandro's on the soft. Oh, hello. Hoyer is on the soft tyres and he's pitting the same lap as the Musto guys on the ultra soft.
Oh, what's that about, Mishi?
Wow. I remember he did a mistake. Well, I don't know if it was a mistake, but in Bahrain he chose, I think it was the mediums, when other people were on the super soft. So I don't know if he's just struggling with tyre wear a bit, maybe.
Yes, and the only other thing that crossed my mind was he needed to let Journey through, although he probably could have done that and cost himself less than a second.
And the Musto was right into the big train of all
that is
the
a huge
hard
train.
drivers.
Yeah, from Zappella backwards. From Zappella backwards, there's a queue of about 12 cars, bumper to bumper, pretty much.
That's
is
incredible.
Not good for them.
From P6 to P16, no, P17, P18. Goodness gracious! It's like leaving a car park after the football.
Well, lap times are very close in quali, as we saw. So, well, as it always is here, really, at this track. So the gaps are going to be very close, and the leaders were not able to make a pit stop up on the sort of the midfield. So yeah, they are in this battle, and this is going to be a big fight for people staying out, such as Sergio Harris in P8. He's still on soft tyres.
Taking advantage of all of this will be Michele D'Alessandro because he has clean air right now, and all of the people who are pitted and are on fresh tires are stuck in the traffic with old tires and can't do faster lap times. It's the same with Umut Patel and Peter Broliak. Both of them were behind Greco, Santa Carlos, all of them, and managed to jump them just because they were stuck in traffic.
So Hoyer's jumped onto the back of this train as well. It's almost a case of alliteration. We're lap 17 and we've got 17 drivers within 17 seconds of the lead. That's all about the number 17 at the moment. But Hoyer's on a quick tyre and he's going to want to get through these guys. Make this work if he can.
I think whoever's engineering Michi Hoyer today has made a really, really big mistake. He's on the hardest tyre available here, on the soft tyre. He stayed out as long as the Musto boys on the softest tyre. And he came out at the back of the biggest train there is on this track. This was a really, really big mistake from his engineer because he's on fresh tires now and he is probably doing slower lap times than he was before. And
now, on my graphic and also on race view and live timing, it shows me Hoyer on a super soft.
Yes.
He is now, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Peterman in the first stint, but it is pretty bad because there's 10 cars ahead of him, literally in a line, and it's all because Sergi, is that Sergi making a pit? Yes, it is. I was about to say it's all because of Sergi, Eras, Germano Zappella, and Bianca Lilla. They start on the soft and they haven't pit yet, but Eras is now out of the way of them, along with who's that? James Sadler.
I think we're going to have a fight for the lead in a moment. Simičić is all over D'Alessandro now like a cheap suit. And D'Alessandro is still on his original set of soft tyres, so he's gone exceptionally long. He's done 18 laps on those tyres. Journey has pitted and come back out to play on quicker tyres. Well, quicker than Michele's. So
What?
Journey needs to get through him now and pull a gap, because really Manitsakis, if I'm correct, is the man that Simičić is really racing at the moment.
He's gone for it. Yeah, he's gone for it in the hairpin. Sorry to cut you off there, but he went for a dive bomb, and I think he's going to make it because he's going to have DRS here. But this is not the best news for Michele D'Alessandro. But all Michele needs to do is stay out enough laps, basically, to save a pit stop. Because if he stays out till as long after lap 20 as he can, then he's basically made up a pit stop on loads of people. If he can keep the pace. But yeah, that is Jurni Simičić into the lead of the race, and that's going to be good for him because now Manasakis and Priestis are going to have to overtake Michele as well.
And further in the back we have Priliak and Wilmot Patel fighting through all of the back marker train, I would say, all of the soft runners who didn't stop yet. We saw David Krecker, I think, making a move on Masciuli, who had to cut the last chicane. And right behind them, both of the Netrix runners still waiting to clear all of the train. And I think Priliak managed to get past all of them now, but Patel only has Zappala in front of him.
Yeah,
needs to clear.
Zappella's the last person who is the cork in the bottle, if you want to call it like that. Because Bianchilillo and Eras have now pitted. So yeah, Brelek got past, I think, on the last lap, so he is now going to be chasing down Martin Gosby. So Gosby's lost a few seconds here to Priestis, but obviously there's a 2-step difference on the compound. Brelek is on the same compound as Gosby, so I don't expect that gap to drop too much just yet. However, these ultra soft runners, how long did they get out the first pit? They got 12, so they're already going to be pitting again in the next sort of 4 laps. This is why I think, D'Alessandro is coming under attack from Manasakis. This is important for Manasakis. It pulls out of that one, but if D'Alessandro can keep ahead, as I said a couple of laps ago, this is really good for him.
There was a big lock-up from David Krecker because he was battling with, I think, Germano Zappala, if I'm not mistaken. And Zappala went into the pits, and Krecker looked at Zappala's braking point and obviously braked way too late because Zappala was going into the pit lane. This will hurt his tires massively. A lock-up on these tires will easily cost you 1 or 2 laps worth of tire wear, and also you have big reparations afterwards.
Yeah, Manitsakis getting very impatient and very ambitious on the tail of D'Alessandro, and I think he's going to manage to do exactly what Journey did, outbraked him into the hairpin. D'Alessandro letting him through safely, and Manitsakis is off now. D'Alessandro 20 laps now on these softs. Will he pit now? He just hasn't got pace now, and he's dropping back through the field. You'd sort of think this tyre might have done its work for him now. And
D'Alessandro pits.
Yep, he heard me and pitted.
Yeah. Yeah. Where is he going to come out? He's... Oh wow, he's going to be in this big battle as well. In this
he will
big
be,
train.
yeah. Round about where Greco is.
I
think he might be coming out just in front of them.
Oh, he's got the ultra soft tyres as well, so he's going to have to make this work, overtaking this traffic. Otherwise, his ultra softs are just going to get burnt up sitting in this. He's
coming
traffic.
up behind Greco, on my money.
So he's coming out front of the Netrex guys in P9. So, but he needs to get past these cars as quickly as possible on this ultra soft tyres to make his strategy work.
Has Masciuli stopped at all?
He hasn't.
Yes.
Oh yes, I see. Lap 14. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, he has. Everyone has stopped, as far as I'm aware. At least in the top 2/3 of the field. Yeah, Michele is all over the back of Masciuli right now. He might, he's going to go for a move into the chicane, into the hairpin even, and he is ahead.
Looking at how strategy played out, Michele D'Alessandro, he stayed out long on the soft tires and managed to clear 4 people and jumped up to P8 and has fresh tires now as well. And then we have Michi, who had the same strategy as Michele D'Alessandro, where we see Daniel Kiss making a move on Masciuli, and he pitted too early and he wasted his fresh tires in a big train of cars and is still in P12 after all of this.
Yeah, that's a really interesting call because they were the two sort of prime runners, weren't they? And despite the fact there's only 2 seconds between them, there's 4 places between them.
Yeah, and now Michele will have fresher tires, faster tires, and would probably gone into the distance the next few laps compared to Hoyer, who was his prime target, I would say, on the same strategy. Yeah, Michele is already on the back of David Cracker. He will make a move, maybe even before the chicane, before the hairpin, I mean. If not, then there will be an easy DRS pass afterwards. And I think, looking at this, Michele D'Alessandro has a real chance at getting a podium later in the race, depending on how he plays out the strategy.
He's been very impressive this season, and that's, I guess I'm stating the leading obvious because he's leading the World Championship. But Michele always had pace. I remember, watching him in certain races, and he would just have stunning pace for, a stint or half a stint or half a race. But this season, he's just matured in his judgment and his strategy and his patience. And he's now delivering race wins and really, really high level of performance on a regular basis rather than the occasional fantastic battle or impressive lap time.
Yeah, he had a fair amount of crashes last year as well, which didn't help because he was in good places last season quite a lot of the time. But I mean, I can name like 4 tracks off the top of my head where he crashed. So that is obviously something he's cut out this year. And something I just realised, Florian Becker has just pitted for the second time, and Michele's only just pit for the first time.
Second time already, that's interesting.
Yep, he did ultra soft in a second stint, and he's now back onto the ultra soft, so he's definitely going for at least a 4-stop. Is the Dutchman. Mohammed Patel and Breliak are now on to, soft tyres.
And at the front we're seeing a bit of a teammate battle right now. Paresis has closed up to Manasakis. It's a bit of DRS running, I think, from Paresis right now, trying to save fuel behind his teammate. Both of them are on ultra soft tires, and yeah, I think it looks like Paresis might have got a little bit more pace right now, but staying behind Manasakis to maybe save a bit of fuel to attack later on.
I wonder what Michele is going to do about this, because obviously in the first stint he was on the slower tyres and he stayed with Petter and Mu on the faster tyres, but now he is the one on the faster tyres. I wonder if there's any sort of team order or something of the like to reverse the positions, even though there's no reason why there would be in the grand scheme of things of the race, because I assume they've just swapped their first 2 stints because he started outside the top 10. He's very close now.
Sorry, Manasakis made a bit of a mistake out of the hairpin, and then now Paresis is side by side with him, going up to the inside, and will make an easy pass, I think.
Both of them pit, but hello, where's Jim going?
Jim's just overshot, outbraked himself, and had to go around the cones.
Yeah, he did. It was the same thing with Cracker earlier, as I said. He was looking at Manasakis and was trying to brake later than Manasakis, but then he realized, oh, my teammate's going into the pit lane, and then he obviously overshot the chicane.
Michele got past Patel down into the last chicane there. So he is now up into P5, although net P6 with Manasakis. But Manasakis is probably doing an extra stop than the Musto guys from the look of their tyres, but he's now behind them. So Manasakis needs to, luckily he's got no traffic, but he needs to get up towards the 3 Mustos ahead of him and overtake.
And if my live timing is correct, then Michele D'Alessandro is currently the fastest driver on the grid, setting purple laps and being over 1 second faster than anyone else on the grid right now.
And Mohammed Patel and Peter Breliak, having started 10th and 9th respectively, have moved up pretty nicely really when you think about it, P6, P4. So they've, over this 25 laps, made some good stuff happen.
Oh, we missed Marco Conti.
Yeah, retired. Sorry, I should have mentioned.
I'm just having a look to see what happened. Oh, he got tagged by I think that's Martini, the replacement in the Invictus car, got tagged under the bridge, went over to the right-hand side, smashed into the wall, and yeah, wing off, probably suspension damage. That's game over. Unfortunate for him, because it seemed like he had a good strategy as well.
And a Callis pitting from P12, going from ultra soft to super soft. Yeah, they're fragile beasts, these cars. They might be able to withstand a couple of tons of downforce, but if you hit them from an angle that they're not designed to be hit from, They're very fragile little things, and very easy to damage, both in real life and in the virtual world in which we race.
I wonder if Jim is changing strategy here, because he was copying his teammate Manasakis, but he's already stayed out a lap. And I wonder if he's going to stay out another lap here. I think this is his 14th lap on these tyres, so it might be a bit of a stretch, but it seems like he's trying to do something different at least. Is he pitting? Yes, he is. So he should probably go to the super soft tyres, looking at what Manasakis did. So where is he going to come out? He's probably going to come out behind the Musto guys, isn't he? Yeah, he's put on the super soft tyres.
So Gosby on the soft, now into P2, having pitted on lap 13, so he's 14 laps into his soft stint, and currently holding P2, lapping at sort of a mid to high 114.
So Paris is staying out those extra 2 laps, has got himself behind Greco, so Greco is in between the 2 edge cars. So Paresis has given himself a couple laps fresher tyres towards the end of the race. However, he now needs to overtake Greco, who's also on the super soft tyres.
If anybody in the audience is interested in asking any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. If you use the hashtag AskFSR, myself and my fellow commentators will be happy to endeavour to answer any questions. But I somehow think that the people watching this event are probably know about as much about these cars as we do. If you do feel like getting involved in FSR, just look us up on formulasimracing.net. All the instructions are there. You just need a gaming PC, wheel and pedals, and a copy of rFactor 2.
Priest is overtaking Greco, as we said there, so he has now got that position that he lost due to the undercut, or the overcut even, and he's keeping the place into turn 1, so yeah, he's now into P7 behind his teammate.
Further in the back we just saw James Sadler overtaking with Lapala on the back straight, and there's still a 3-way battle. Lapala defending against Tapala as well. There's a bit of a train going on for P12 right now with Bianco Lillas, James Sadler, Ville Lapala and Germano Sapala.
Say all those names again quickly.
I don't think I will make this. And we have a bit of a battle here I've looked at earlier, which is Vichy Hoyer staying on the back of Erwish Masciuli, and an interesting thing what I saw and mentioned earlier as well. When they go onto the straights, and Hoyer making a move down the
inside under brakes into the chicane.
Yeah,
he's got through, and he'll have DRS.
Jenne's pitting, super soft tyres. Can he beat Berliak and Gosby out of the pit lane? Things gonna be quite tight with D'Alessandro actually, but this could screw his strategy if he gets stuck behind one of these drivers. Who's he going to get stuck behind? He's going to try get out ahead of Michele D'Alessandro. They're side by side coming up to turn 3, and it looks like Jerne has made that out ahead. They've both made the same amount of pit stops, haven't they? Oh no, Michele is one less actually, so this is good for Jerne as he needs to stay ahead if he's doing an extra pit stop.
Yeah, well, Michele ran very long, didn't he, on that opening stint on the soft tyre. I think it was 20 laps. He pitted at the end of lap 20. So Journey's only 2.5 seconds from the net lead, and Briac in front of him has been out for quite some time on those tyres, I believe.
Manasakis got past Patel on the last lap as well. So, yeah, that is him up now into P5.
Briac's tyres are 13 laps old, so, or 16, got to check my maths. 29 minus 16, no, 13 laps old.
And something interesting to see, I just went on board with Johnny Simoncic being in DRS, and he was lifting down the straight, like halfway down the straight he started to lift a little bit, or was it
Jerne outside of Petr Breliak, not quite, sorry. He was going for a move down into turn number 1, trying to go around the outside has never really been done, but he's still very close here to Petr Breliak. Trying very hard to get past, because obviously Breliak is on older, harder tyres, so bad in 2 ways, but not quite the overtake done there.
And Briac on pure wear, he probably won't need to pit for another 4, 5, 6 laps, but Simoncic has got much quicker rubber under him and much newer rubber. He needs to clear Briac. He doesn't want to get late into the stint on this super soft and still be behind Briac, but I can't see him not getting by. It's got to happen. In fact, I think Gosby won't be sitting in clear air for long either. Let's see what Simoncic does to Briac down this straight. He had plenty of top speed. Good drive out of the hairpin. Lines him up past the DRS line. DRS open, a big closing speed already from Simoncic. Although, is he hitting the limit or is he saving fuel? What's he doing there? I'm going into cockpit view to have a look at what he was doing.
Yeah, so Gosby has pit.
I was watching Simoncic onboard. He nearly hit 340 kph. Now he's making the move onto Priliak on the outside of turn 1 and makes it stick, but Priliak had DRS from Gosby as well, and Simoncic hit nearly 340 kph, so I think both of them were boosting quite a bit down the back straight.
Briac had DRS and a slightly higher top speed. Journey was hitting 335 and hitting the limiter. And of course, Briac had some DRS, courtesy of Gosby.
Mr. Gosby's come out of the pit lane again on another set of the soft tyres in P11. He's got a couple of seconds of gap to Eros Mashuli, but Eros is, I think, now ahead on strategy to Martin Gosby, if I'm not mistaken.
And currently we have Jim Paris's going purple in the race, fastest lap so far, attacking Muhammad Patel into the hairpin.
Ooh. Yes.
He will get DRS down the back straight and will be in front of Muhammad Patel as well. And they're still side by side a little bit. Patel in the slipstream of Paris. Paris with the DRS. Let's see if Mu can make a move, but I don't think so. Yeah, Paris is in front of Muhammad Patel. He's flying currently, trying to catch his teammate Manasakis.
Now, I missed Journey's pass on Briac. Journey back in the lead.
Yeah, Michaela's now past Briac as well. However, Michaela must be thinking about pitting in the next sort of 3-4 laps. So this is really his crunch time, because he cannot let Yerne get too far ahead.
Did we call the attack from Journey on Briac? Because he passed him around the outside into turn 1.
Yes, we did that.
Sorry, apologise. I'll come back out of Dream World. Pay better attention.
Now he was getting very busy with all those cars before. There were a couple of pit stops.
I was I was feeling for Gosby a bit, thinking, well, when you pit from the lead on lap 31, you don't really expect to come out in 11th place.
Yeah, well, he is obviously 15 seconds behind Simoncic. That is where it is, but it's really sort of a battle of what he can do on these soft tyres. Pushing quite a lot, because the 9 people ahead of him, 8 people ahead of him are all sort of in that same battle. It just depends how their tyre strategies work out. So obviously Gosby's gone for soft when people like the Edge guys have only used the 2 softer compounds. So completely different routes of finishing the race.
Well, Hoyer, I think, is 17 laps into this tyre stint, because he took these tyres on lap 16, or lap 32. So this would be when he finishes this, his 17th lap on these super softs. That's longer than he ran on the soft. But he's certainly going to need to pit soon.
And now we have Martin Gosby making a move onto Eros Mashuli, down into the hairpin, clears him and will have DRS on the back straight. So Martin making good progress on his fresh tires, which he needs to do to keep in touch with the cars in front of him.
Daniel Kiss is in pretty good shape, really, looking at him. He has only been on these tyres for... Yeah,
big train of cars, all in DRS. We know David Cracker making a move on Sergio Herras, Villa Lepala right in front of him with DRS as well, because he just got passed by Germano Zappala, I think, the lap before. And there's still a big train of like 5 or 6 cars all within 3 or 4 seconds, battling for P11 down to P16, I think. And for some reason, I think we missed Richie Hoyer pitting again.
He just pitted just this time round.
Okay, so he has a second pit stop already and it's down to P17. Meanwhile,
He's back on the super softs, so he will be stopping again. He's got 36 laps to go, so he'll have one more stop. He just needs to go quickly. A lot of the cars in front of him are gonna pit, and it's probably going to put him at least for a little while up in the top 7.
And you can really see here how it's making a big difference how a driver can handle the tires. Richie Hoyer, Michele Di Alessandro, I know I said it the 3rd time already, but they started on the same strategy, same tires. They were within 1 second for like 10 or 12 laps, and now Michele is in P2 and Richie Hoyer is battling for P16 right now.
No, never a truer word's been spoken. And Hoyer just cleared Van Delft under DRS.
Michele does owe us a pit stop regarding that, though.
Misculi and Biancalila are both in the pits. And yeah, with the margins this fine, this deep into the race, of course, your engineer is a valuable tool as well, advising you on what strategy to use. And what a lot of the guys have got to do when they come in and change tyre compounds, they'll make a slight adjustment to the front wing as well to balance the car. Different big variations in grip level at the rear end, and you've got to match that a bit with the aero at the front end. But the one guy who's smelling of roses at the moment is Journey Simicic, but you've got to hand it to Michele Di Alessandro to be sitting in 2nd place, having started, what, 10th, 11th? That's been a good drive, but is he due a pit stop soon? I'm just looking. It's been a while. Yeah, lap 21. He's 15 laps into an ultra soft stint.
Yeah, this is getting close to the limit. But as we've seen, the Musto cars can seem to be fairly decent on their tyres, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 16 laps or 17 laps, really.
Kiss and Zappel are both in pits.
Oh, and Hoyer, they're still battling in the train. He took the chicane a bit too aggressive, needed to slow down to not go into the Wall of Champions. Now is under attack by Felix van Delft. Goes a bit right then, turn 1, goes to the inside of Ville Lepela, and turn 2, a bit of wheel banging there. Manages to get past him. I think Ville Lepela was a bit out of shape because he got passed by Santa Carlos into turn 1. And now Felix van Delft trying to make a move on Ville Lepela down into turn 5 and 6.
Okay, Callis's tyres are 11 laps old, so Hoyer may have an edge. Heras must have to pit soon. His tyres, he took these tyres on lap 18.
Eros just pit. Eros Mashuli.
Okay.
Yeah, he was up near Gosby and Greco, but he's now behind the train. Talking about Greco, he's under attack from Daniel Kish here. Kish going around the outside on the ultra soft tyres, and yeah, simple DRS move into the final chicane up to P8 for Daniel Kish.
Kish had a very good weekend in Melbourne 2 years ago. He won the Ace race and won the World Championship race, stepped up for 1 round into WC and took out that race as well. So he won both events in 1 weekend in Melbourne and moved up to WC World Championship.
And further up front we will have Manu Sarkis making a pass onto Michele Di Alessandro rather soon, I would think, and Paresis is onto the back of Peter Brejak as well. Let's see, Manu Sarkis should have DRS now onto Michele Di Alessandro. He's a bit far back, but if he turns his engine up he might have a chance to make a move the braking zone into the chicane.
Manu Sarkis closed the DRS about halfway down the straight there. Brejak into the pit lane, and Patel behind him. Ultra soft tyres for Brejak. I assume the same for Patel. This probably gives us an indication. Yes, ultra soft as well. Gives us an indication of what Michele is going to come out. They have 30 odd laps left, so yeah, they're probably going to do 2 ultra softs to the end from here.
Yep, 33,
Yeah.
33, 32 laps,
Good.
yeah, 16 laps each. Or
Yeah, good mileage they're getting out of these ultra soft tyres. That is, that is to be said.
yeah, they're managing them well.
So does that put them? That puts them... Wow, this actually puts them in a really good position because they are just behind Gosby. And Gosby's obviously still got to make a stop as well. But for the next 15 laps, they're on ultra soft tyres. So if they can catch them past Gosby, they're going to be sort of P3.
Manusakis now really close, making move onto Michele Di Alessandro just after he opened his DRS, and Paris is right behind them as well.
D'Alessandro might be
Michele
pitting.
pits.
Yep, D'Alessandro is entering the pit lane.
Yeah, that was a bit awkward. Michele would have lost some time there because he couldn't go flat out into the pit entry.
Well, that had to happen. Where's he going to come out now? Is he going to come out after Briac? Briac's just going through the final chicane. Yeah. Briac's going to have him. Gosby's through.
Obviously, turn one's longer.
Is through. Briac's around now and through. Mo Patel is not. So D'Alessandro exits the pits on ultra soft tyres in P6.
And this is with Brelak and Patel. They are now on the same strategy to the end. So they have done pretty well. They obviously did opposite. The Sabeman boys were on the soft first and then the ultra soft, and Muster boys were ultra soft and now soft, but obviously to the end it is the same now.
Yeah, straight fight to the end.
Yep, all for position.
Now Gosby,
Sergio Harris had a spin. Sergio Harris had a spin out of turn 5. Needs to wait for all the cars who's coming there to clear him. Now he spins back. He lost like 5 seconds. Oh, there's Wilder coming past. This has cost him many positions and probably his tires as well.
Gosby's making reasonable pace on these softs. He took them on lap 31, so he's only been 9 laps on them. So Gosby will just stop one more time as well and presumably take the ultra soft at the end. So I think he's in this straight fight with Briac and D'Alessandro and Patel, albeit a couple of seconds up the road, but on the slower tyre and on a worn tyre. So it's going to be a thrilling finish.
Yeah, and up front we have the teammate battle of Manusakis and Paris again, battling away for P2. Paris is very close. If he wants to, he should be able to make a pass with DRS down the back straight, but maybe he's trying to save some fuel, so let's see. Oh no, he's going. I think he's going for it. Is he? No, he's coasting. Yeah, Paris is still saving a bit of fuel behind his teammate there.
Yeah, he lifted quite early. I guess with DRS open, he can just leave the car in mix 1 and just coast. Well, not coast, but not use as much fuel.
Yeah, this is very good from the Edge esports team, obviously new to Formula Sim Racing this season, with 2 very experienced drivers, Manusakis and obviously Jim Paresis is multiple second place in the World Championship and multiple race winner as well. Manusakis himself, very respectable driver here in other series. But it's still good to see a brand new team to the league coming and doing pretty well from the get-go. I mean, Paresis has had some podiums already this season, but Manusakis not quite so much, had a couple of unlucky races, but again, he is right here keeping pace.
Yeah, and it looks like a reinvigorated Jim Paresis too, because I remember for a couple of seasons he'd come out of the box. He loves Melbourne. He'd come out and he'd do really well in Melbourne, and then perhaps not be as engaged for the rest of the season, and sometimes not quite finish the season. But if he's getting regular podiums and performing at this level, it's great to see from the talented driver.
Oh, both are pitting. Manusakis, Paris is pitting at the same lap.
Wonder if they're sharing a pit box.
They're not.
No, they're not. Okay. Sometimes teammates do. They're ultra soft tyres. So, yeah, they've got to make another pit stop as well.
Gosby is close to Peter Breliak. Or, oh no,
Breliak's just got past.
Yeah, Breliak just passed him.
Yeah. Which was sort of expected. This is for position, as they both
absolutely they're both
require
got
one more stop. But Gosby will get the undercut because I assume he's going to pit before.
Well,
Otherwise he'll go very long on his
it's going to be
softs.
interesting. Yeah, Gosby will probably get a little undercut because he will pit earlier. But he, assuming they both go for ultra softs next time round, if Gosby goes for the ultra soft soon, his tyres will be good, but not good till the end. Briac might do that clever thing that he does and just have perfect tyres late in the race.
So Michele D'Alessandro is all over the back of Martin Gosby. Now going for a dive bomb down into the chicane. Martin had to leave room there. That's quite a late move, but seemed to be just about legal from Michele D'Alessandro, who I think will get DRS. Yes, he does.
He does. And
Gosby trying to defend this as much as he can. Doesn't want to let this go, but no. Michele gets that and will get DRS again.
Oh, a lot of oversteer for Martin Gosby out of the chicane there. Tried to go into the power very early to maybe make a move on Mick, but that nearly cost him. Quick reaction though.
So this must be a bit of a painful stage of the race for Gosby, because really he can't come in and change tyres for a few more laps. He's got to get within a stint from home on the ultras, unless he decides to go super soft and hopefully engage these other guys, but they'll be on ultras, so he can't really afford to do that. He's got a bit of breathing space to Parizis, but Parizis is flying and so is Manitsakis, both on new tyres. Gosby is in a sandwich between guys on faster tyres and newer tyres than he is, so he'll just be watching those laps tick over until he can come in and get some fresh rubber on.
James Sadler had a moment into turn one just a few moments ago. I think he was trying to defend from Zappala even, and Bianchi Lilla seemed to come past again into turn one, and he had to go all over the runoff and cut out T2 effectively. But yeah, he's now back into 14th place behind the two Italian drivers.
And I think we missed right after the pit stop of Manusakis and Parizis. Parizis ran past Manusakis and has now direct position for P2.
Ah, yes, he's managed to get him in pit lane, unless that was a team order.
I think it was after the pit line.
Ah, okay.
Let's take a look if I can find a replay somewhere.
Sadler pitting, by the way.
Yeah, another set of ultras soft for him, so that will be
There
a
it is.
further pit stop.
Looks like I have a replay ready. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, it was a DRS pass down the back straight. This time not saving fuel but passing Manusakis. Pretty straightforward DRS pass.
Oh, well, that makes sense. He'd been getting a bit of a free ride for a while and saving up some fuel margin. Decided to spend it. So Briac now 3.5, nearly 4 seconds up the road from Martin Gosby, who is not enjoying these softs, but still in the hunt for some really good points. Parizis on his tail, lapping. Well, Parizis is in the low 13s now. Gosby is lapping at, yeah, mid 14. So Parizis is going to eat up Gosby very soon, and so too is Manitsakis. He'd be in the low 13s as well. Yep.
Hoyer and Mashuli had a moment in the final chicane just now. They were trying to go side by side, and Hoyer went all over the first curb, and Mashuli locked the rears and went all over the second curb. Bit messy, but I think Hoyer defended that position. Yeah.
I think we can take a look at the replay. Nothing major happening right now. Oh, actually, Parizis is close to Gosby, so let's keep an eye on Parizis before showing.
So in the meantime, Journey Simoncic 13.4 seconds in the lead.
He will be stopping soon though, but then everyone else has to stop as well. So yeah, he's got a nice lead. He's been out on his own doing his thing pretty much, while everyone else has been battling behind.
Well, indeed, and he seems happy on the super soft, so he's got a little bit more strategic flexibility on when he will pit. He took these tyres on lap 29, it looks like, so 16 laps in. So it shouldn't be a whole lot of laps from now. We are 24 laps from home. So yeah, he may well have to run super softs again and perhaps even be on the limit of those. But he's got a comfortable margin. He can afford to look after some tyres if he's one stopping from here.
Yeah, so I think Manasakis is going to get Gosby on this lap as well. So it'll be both edge cars ahead of Gosby, with Patel coming up behind too. So soft tyres not quite working for Gosby at the moment. And yeah, I think Manasakis is going to go down the inside of the hairpin. Yes, he is. He probably got DRS as well at the detection zone. So Gosby is probably just waiting for his pit stop right now, which will be obviously, I guess, in a few laps.
He's got a bit of a feeling of deja vu because it was Manasakis' teammate Parisis that got him in the same spot a couple of laps ago. But he's getting some good top speed out of it. He's 318 kph without DRS. Simičić running very low 114, so he's got good pace on these worn tyres. His fastest lap was the 13.9 and he's still running 14.1, so very, very consistent still.
And Johnny Simičić just set a new personal fastest lap with 18 laps all super soft tires. So it looks like he's keeping his tires in very good shape.
Well, that's impressive. So 30 hour, high 13. Very impressive. But he's pitting. Simičić into the pits now. 23 laps from home.
Ooh.
What is he going to do? Is he going to do
tires.
2 ultra softs?
Probably soft tires to the end.
Tires. Got to be, yes. Because if he was doing another stop from here, he would risk quite heavily the lead of the race.
Yep.
And
But he's going to be behind, possibly... No, the edge cars won't get him, so he's probably going to be...
They will
oh
get
no,
him.
the edge cars will get him,
Yes,
actually.
of course they will get him. Well, actually he comes out in the middle of them. He might make a move onto Jim Parisis right here. He doesn't make a move onto Jim Parisis into turn 3. Side by
Oh, there's
side.
going to be contact, yes! Oh, wow. Sorry.
Oh, Journey.
Yeah, they got across the chicane there. I thought that was going to be a big crash when they got to the turning point there, but...
He was very lucky to save that.
Yeah, so he is obviously going to the end. Everyone ahead of him is pitting again. So it's not game, set and match because Yanni's going to have to, you know, sort of cushion those tyres a little bit.
What would you say, about 12 seconds?
Yeah, it's probably about a 17-second pit stop here if you do a normal pit entry. So he's going to have lost some time there. So yeah, Broliak and Michaela are not out of this by any means. The edge cars probably are because they need to make another pit stop. But we will see in a few laps time to see what Broliak and D'Alessandro do.
Journey must have just missed out on DRS by the finest of margins that time round, and I guess that was going to be his goal. Get on the back of these. Oh, he had DRS and he didn't use it on the main straight.
Yeah, I think he forgot to use it actually.
Oh, he must have done because he's used it on the pit straight.
And it looks like the ultra softs of the Edge boys are in pretty good condition because the lap before this, Manasakis set a new fastest lap of the race, and currently they're both running a bit away of Journey here. And I mean, Journey is on a 2 steps harder compound than both of them, but it looks like they're still in pretty good conditions.
Yes, they're 7 laps in, and they pitted in tandem, didn't they? So those tyres are going to be feeling pretty lovely at the moment on low fuel. And of course, as we know, Journey on the soft takes a lap or 2 to achieve a good grip balance, and then when they come in, they start to feel pretty bulletproof. So Journey should start to, it might be another 2 or 3 laps before Journey starts to feel really strong versus these guys as theirs age. So that's always intriguing to see that evolve. But this time he's outside DRS range. And of course he wouldn't have the chance, Journey out in the lead as he was in clear air, he's not had the luxury of being able to save fuel by popping open the DRS and lowering the fuel mix. So Journey's not got a big, I'd bet money that he hasn't got a big fuel margin. Gosby in the pits, finally getting off those softs. What's he going to do? It won't be another set of softs.
Well, he's probably going to the end on another set of softs now.
Might be able to do super softs.
Slightly longer pit stop, actually. Yeah, he's taking the softs again. Where is he? He might get out just ahead of Zappala, which would be quite good for him because then you have no traffic, but it's going to be very close on pit exit. Yeah, Martin Gosby gets him though. So this is Gosby going to the end, but a lot of people need to pit ahead of him.
They do, and it sort of puts him probably in P7 net when the other guys pit, but the guys that allow him to get to P7, it's going to be guys pitting and coming back on ultra soft. So I think we're going to have a replay of what we've seen over the last stint. Is Gosby being attacked by guys on the disposable ultra soft? So how's Simoncic? How's his pace looking? I'm going to have a look at his lap time this time round.
He set a personal best last lap, but all of the drivers in front of him are all faster right now.
Yeah, 13.6, but there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. There's only a tenth or two, and he's just put on these. He's just put on the softs. So, yep, Journey's pace is looking pretty good.
The thing is, depending on how long Brilek and D'Alessandro will stay out on this tire, they might take a softer, or they will take a softer tire than Simoncic in the last stint, and they're currently only 7 seconds ahead, which means after the pit stop they are probably around 10 seconds behind Simoncic. So Simoncic can't feel too safe right now with his current pace.
But you know what? Simoncic is going as quick on the soft as Patel is on the ultra soft. 13.6 plays 13.8. So
I think, let's see how old are Patel's tires though. He's on 13 lap old ultras right now.
Okay, cool.
And at the front,
but behind him on the track, so Briac, yeah.
If the front is doing currently, all of them are doing a 13.4 or 13.3, the top four. And then Journey is doing a 13.9. And all of the guys in front of him are on more than 10 lap old ultra softs, I think.
So Journey's going to probably find himself with a lead of 10 seconds, but with 15 laps to defend it from guys on really fast tyres. So it is going to be the hare and the tortoise at the end of this. Zappala and Greco both in pit lane. Looking at Briac's pit lap times in clear air. Yeah, Briac's knocking out mid-13s, 13.2, 13.3, 13.5, 13.4. So spending whatever fuel he saved earlier and trying to make this really, really work for him. But I've got to say, with only 7 seconds between him and Journey, and it seems to be holding steady at 7 seconds. We'll see when Journey crosses the line. Kiss into the pits. Yeah, Journey's just gone 13.3, so he's really, really finding these softs are coming in, and he is currently quicker than the guys he's racing. Almost the fastest lap of the race. I think Briac did a lower 13. Briac did a 13.1 earlier on.
And now is the time where Journey's softs are starting to work better than the ultra soft. So I think the reasonable thing for the top 4 to do right now is pit immediately. Pit, put on the ultra softs for 15 laps, and then try to attack Journey.
Yeah, we've got 16 laps left. Yeah. And his current tyres are 15 laps old. Yeah.
And
he's doing exactly as you suggested. Yes. Good call. Good call, Peter.
And I think D'Alessandro will do a maximum of 2 laps now. The same for the Edge boys, I would think. It's not worth it to run any more laps on these ultra softs, especially seeing that Journey is now picking up the pace and is slowly getting faster than them. They need to go onto the ultras as soon as possible.
Masculi into the pits. off Ultra Softs and taking like another set of Ultra Softs with 16 laps to go. Hoyer passes him temporarily because Hoyer will need to stop again. Hoyer's tyres are 3 laps older. Or no, actually Hoyer, Hoyer could probably run home on these. Actually, he should be able to run home on these, so he'd be pretty pleased to salvage P9 out of what was looking pretty ugly a while ago.
Looking at the sector times, Peter Breliak is currently the fastest in Sector 2 on his fresh Ultra Softs.
Mandatsakis into the pits. Parizis going around for another lap. Simoncic now 4.6 seconds off the lead, now that it's D'Alessandro. But he's got clear area, he hasn't got a battle with anybody.
And Breliak just ran 4/10 faster in the last sector to Simoncic. 2/10 in the second sector. So let's wait for the first real lap time, but if you can continue this pace and be nearly 1 second faster lap than Simoncic, we will have a battle for the lead. Probably between all of them, if they all switch to use Ultra Soft soon.
It's looking intriguing. Briak's, as we know, and Patel both good with their tyres. Briak's car is going to be super quick for 10 laps, and after that it's going to be sheer skill as to how much tyre conservation he's managed to achieve while doing those laps. But yeah, 8 seconds behind Journey.
And Mick is pitting, as well as
15 laps to play. He needs half a second a lap, doesn't he? That's the maths. Oh, and Parizis, both of them pitting.
Yep.
Put Simoncic into the lead. And Briak now just exiting the final chicane and passing pit straight to take over net P2. He's got a lap car ahead of him, Marek Godek. And he is, it looks like, 8 seconds behind Journey Simoncic.
And Breliak just set the fastest lap, 12.7, Journey Simoncic 13.5.
Okay, well, you know what? That's what he needs. He needs about 0.7 a lap, roughly speaking. 14 laps, 8 seconds. It's got to be the thick end of a second a lap to make this work. So it's going to be intriguing if he gets onto Journey and he's still got any rubber left.
If he keeps
Journey
going,
will not want to let this happen because, of course, they had such an incredible fight for second place in Circuit Paul Ricard 2 weeks ago. And at that time, Briak prevailed. Journey will not want that to happen. And in fact, with D'Alessandro in P3, Journey needs maximum points to lessen the gap between him and D'Alessandro in the World Championship title hunt. The gap at the moment is 18 points. This would at least halve that if he maintains the status quo. And I know both Journey and Michele D'Alessandro are both coveting the World Championship title. If you can say that you are a Formula Sim Racing World Champion, you are one of the fastest drivers on planet Earth.
oh, and I think Manusakis must have had a penalty. I think he made another pit stop.
Drive-through maybe?
Yeah, maybe a drive-through or a stop and go for speeding into the pit lane.
I'll go and have a look at what he did, but yeah, not the best situation for Manusakis there.
So Journey's last lap was a PB, 13.3, versus Peter Briak's 12.8. So that's only half a second. But the gap is now down to 7 seconds, 13 laps to go. It's edge of your seat stuff. How much fuel has Peter Briak conserved? How hard can he push?
Yeah,
We're here to watch it happen.
I think Manusakis sped.
Well, that's a shame because he and Jim were working brilliantly together as a team. Jim's just done a fastest sector 2 of all. Peter Briak's just done a fastest race lap of all, the 12.4, which is 0.7 of a second, which is what he needs. But this is his time to shine. He's on the freshest, fastest tyre. Journey's tyre is 2 levels slower and 2 levels more durable. This is a repeat of the Pro event. Can he hold him off? 12 laps to run to take out round 4. Jim Paresis has just gone purple with a 12.379, fastest lap of the whole race.
He's again purple in sector 1, 2/10 faster than Michele D'Alessandro. He's slowly catching up to him.
So Jim Paresis on fire.
Yeah, a lot of purple sectors. I have to say, Greco's got purple sector 3, Paresis purple sector 1, and D'Alessandro purple sector 2. So obviously the weights come off. They're on faster tyres. This is going to be a fight to the end.
The boys are having fun. Car's light. They're on a fast tyre. This is a wonderful moment in a Grand Prix car. Now Jim Paresis is Greek, isn't he?
Yes.
Maybe he takes on the new. Maybe he's the new Greek freak. Remember, Johnny Simon used to call a particular driver the Greek freak because he was so fast.
I think I'm too young to remember that. Oh, has Paresis disconnected, or is it just me?
Paresis.
Oh no, it's just me.
Just set another fastest lap.
No, he's looking okay.
Yeah, he had a big lag for me.
He's going to threaten D'Alessandro.
Oh yeah, this also I
Big
don't
time.
know if the win. I don't think the win is over just yet because Brelak was 7/10 quicker. Obviously, Paresis is even quicker than both Michele and Petter as well. This is going to be a close. Well, all 4 of the cars are going to close up slowly in the last sort of 10 laps or so.
Well, we've got 11 laps to play, haven't we? Journey, the gap is now down to 6 seconds. Was it 8 seconds when we started looking at this, when Peter came out? So Peter in 3 laps has pulled back 2 seconds. It's a fight between 2 of the most skilled drivers in Formula Sim racing, both race winners. Journey's really come into his own in the last season. I remember 2 seasons ago he took wins. He threatened to take his first win in Japan. He was denied that by another driver, a teammate. But last season really showed his skill, and he is properly in the hunt for the World Driver Championship for 2018.
And last lap we had Prelek being 4/10 faster than Johnny Simoncic. Gap is down to 5.5 seconds now.
Journey's just done a 13 flat last time around. Yeah, 4/10 faster, which on my maths is not quite enough. It's going to be intriguing. It's going to boil down to whether Peter Briac can get DRS on Journey, but Journey's got a fast car. Fabulous race.
Well, got Paresis. Oh wow, I thought Paresis was going to get held up there, but I think, was that Marek Godek? Yeah, Marek Godek getting out of the way nicely for Paresis. Almost looked like he was going to give let up some time, but I don't think it cost him anything. And yeah, Brelak is now 5 seconds behind Simoncic with 9 laps to go. At current rate, it's potentially possible he can at least catch him. Overtaking is another situation.
It's a nice rephrasing of Murray Walker's famous line. Catching is one thing, passing is another.
Just looking at the lap times, with no disrespect intended, but some of the pro people were actually doing similar or slower lap times than what some of these guys are doing right now, with about 9 laps of fuel and no boost. So they are going very quickly right now.
Yeah, well, some of us didn't manage to get this quick even in qualifying trim to get onto the grid for pro. So 4.7 seconds the gap at the moment. Journey's just under 13.1.
Greco DNF. Let's have a look what he did on the replay.
Now look at the replay as well for the stream.
He parked it?
Yeah, he pitted and
taking
parked
a pit stop?
Yep.
Interesting.
0.4. 0.4 last time round again. Oh no, more than 0.4.
0.6, I think.
Yeah. 0.5 at least anyway, yeah.
Ooh. Hamnet, fastest first sector, down in 17th place a lap down. He must have just pitted.
And it looks like Paris's head has overcooked his tires a little bit. He's getting a bit slower. And
Yeah,
De
ever
La
so
Sandra's
slightly
getting faster.
slower.
Yeah.
And he is 1, 2. Yeah, he's eight laps in. This is his 9th lap on these ultras, and that's, you know, they are going to start to go away.
They're not going to last the end of the race then if they're already dropping off. 7 laps to go at the end of this lap.
It's hard to conserve rubber when you're chasing someone for the win. And gap is static at 4.2, 4.5. Let's see his lap time this time round.
Journey with a new personal best 13.0 and Brillac 12.7.
Yeah, quarter of a second. That's the closest it's been.
Michele De La Sandro just did a personal best 12.3.
Okay, so Michele is flying. Daniel Kiss is quite close to Patel. What's happened to Mo Patel? Because he and Briac were together, really. Was it strategy or did he have an issue?
Well, I've just noticed, I've been noticing that as well. Patel's just sort of been dropping off here and there. I haven't noticed any sort of mistake or anything. He obviously just hasn't been quite on the ball this weekend.
I know that at Paul Ricard, Mo wasn't quite happy with the way he managed tyres. He wasn't able to manage them quite as well as Peter. And he's a guy that holds himself to incredibly high standards. Gap now 4.1. 7 laps to go. It's the balance is starting to shift in favour of Journey, because Peter is now on 10-lap-old ultras. What's his lap time going to be? 12.8. Yeah, just another tenth slower again. That's only couple of tenths quicker than Journey. Yeah, the pendulum has swung. The ultras have been super quick, but it's a bit like eating an ice cream on the beach. They're beautiful, but they won't last forever.
Oh, and Eros Musculi going to make a move on Michiharia around the outside into the chicane in the braking zone, makes it before braking into the chicane. Oh, and Michi nearly put it into the wall there. Massive oversteer out of the last chicane.
That was a bit scary.
He crashed there last year, so I'm sure he got some haunting memories of that corner.
The Wall of Champions. It was named that in 1999 when Damien Hill, Michael Schumacher and Gilles Villeneuve all hit that wall in one race. 3 world champions, and that's when it got its name. You guys are probably too young to remember that one as well. Don't say anything. Well, Peter's not given up. He's still taking time out of Journey. It's now 3.6 seconds, but we're 65 laps done.
5 tenths again last lap. So he's going to run out of laps if it's like that.
He needs another 2.5 seconds in 2 laps to get into the DRS window, but I think that's close to impossible.
Well, he's put up a gallant fight, because where was he on the grid? Was he 9th, I think? 9th on the grid up to P2. So really that's a sensational drive when you consider Journey was on pole, Peter was 9th. So really a quite incredible drive by Peter. And Michele as well. Michele didn't qualify particularly well. So to climb onto the podium, those guys have really delivered some performance. Now, of course, what can happen in these closing laps is drivers have, you know, they can't put off forever. If they've got to save some fuel, and if you're in a fight or if you're in a big chase or you're being chased, sometimes you've got to watch your fuel, or rather overstep the mark on fuel, and now the piper's got to be paid. With 5 laps to go, somebody might slip into fuel save mode. And as I say that, Journey's just done a 13.2. A 13.4, and Peter Briac's last lap was a 12.6, so we're now talking a 0.8 of a second, the thick end of a whole second, which will be incredibly motivating for Peter Briac, and not to mention the fact that he can now see Journey ahead of him on the road. So nothing's more motivating for a driver in the middle of a chase than to actually start to see the gearbox or almost smell the gearbox of the car in front. Sadler there, a lapped car, will need to hop out of the way, but I'm sure Sadler's a very experienced driver, very professional. He'll do that very neatly. He'll have the chance to do that on the main straight. And give Peter DRS into the bargain, actually, potentially. No, perhaps 1 and 2. Yep, slightly too big a gap for DRS. Lap 66 of 70, gap 2.2 seconds. Who will blink? Now Sadler has not managed to get out of the way in a convenient spot really. Sector 1 is not the nicest of places to facilitate a blue flag pass.
Another 7/10 in the last lap by Peter Burriak.
Gurney's probably just loving the fact that Sadler's between them now. Because Peter Briac, you can't help but think.
If Briac gets DRS now from James Sadler,
which he will probably.
he might be in the DRS one of Journey next lap.
Lap 67 of 70, margin 2 seconds. Yep, Sadler's moved out of the way. Oh, he might have thought that was right on the DRS detection line.
I think he might gave him DRS.
If he'd lifted a second earlier, he wouldn't have got DRS, but he might have given it to him. Now, of course, Peter did drive for James's team once upon a time. No DRS.
Wait, I think he has, but because James didn't activate either.
He hasn't activated it. And
Nobody
nor has he on the pit straight.
Huh, nobody activates the DRS. That's interesting.
Lap 68 of 70, James may not have realised that he scored DRS. So lap 68 of 70, 1.6 seconds. Whose tyres are going to hold? Of course, the soft tyre that Journey's on, they go away, but they go away in a very calm and predictable manner. The ultra soft that Peter Briac is on, they tend to go away in great big lumps. And suddenly they're not there anymore, and you overheat them and they just turn to honey.
Yeah, so it's there's only 2/10 gained from Briac last time out, so I think if that was another 7/10 last time, I think he possibly could have had a chance on the last lap, but it's going to be a bit tough as we come up to start the last lap this time around.
Briac's tyres are looking a bit ropey on the graphic, I must say. So, championship leader D'Alessandro manages to pull a podium out of a qualifying result outside the top 10. Briac from 9th has managed to achieve 2nd place, we think, but we've got another lap to go. Final lap.
And the gap is down to 1.1 second, I think.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, God, Jenny was sliding out that corner. I wonder, has either of these tyres, either of these drivers' tyres, gone off just yet? Or have they actually managed to save them for this last lap?
Well, Journey's driven over 20 laps on this tyre, hasn't he? Is it 24 laps? Incredibly long stint on these tyres.
Yes, it's definitely within the limits of what they could do, but obviously he has been probably pushing a little bit to try and keep the gap from Petter big enough. Oh, Petter slid there.
That throttle oversteer might have just cost him DRS.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was outside of the 1 second. I wouldn't be surprised if Journey say fuel the last 5 laps to get a high mix.
Shifting.
Yeah, to get a high mix.
He's looking pretty strong.
Well, has Journey run out of fuel? Has Journey run out of fuel? Or no, I think he was slowing down to get full boost out the last corner. No, he might have run out of fuel. He might have run out of fuel. He manages to make it though to the line. That is Jurne Simoncic winning the Canadian Grand Prix here from Montreal. Followed by Peter Briac, very close at the end there, and Michele D'Alessandro rounding out the podium. Jim Parisius gets 4th ahead of last year's champion.
Who is it?
Oh, that is James. Is that James Sadler, maybe?
I think it is Marek Godek. It is Marek Godek.
Yes. That is unfortunate for Marek Godek because there are other cars coming down to finish their laps, and just finish the order. Patel got 5th, Kiss in 6th, Gosby starting was at P3, managed to unfortunately go down to P7, Mashuli gets P8, Hoyer in P9, and Manasakis in P10 after that. The speeding in the pit lane.
Did Callis just pass? Oh no, was it Callis or was it Daniel Kish?
Kish had already finished.
I think. Oh no, that was a lap car. I think. I'm not sure. It looked like Callis passed the car there on the start finish, but this might have been a lap car. Anyways.
So guys, that's 2 wins apiece now, to Journey and to Michaeli.
Certainly going to be a very tight championship between those two, I have to say. Felix saying in the chat, rip fuel, so I don't know if that was something to do with Sander, because he said that. might be into one of them running out of fuel.
Yes, I think Sander cast Felix there on the start-finish straight. Looking at the live timing now, yes, he did. Sander Callis passed Felix van Derft right at the finish line, 0.05 seconds over the line.
And Martin Gosby celebrating the fact that he scored some points. So yeah, he was pointless up till now, round 4. So he's had 3 non-finishes. So he's personally very happy to have just have scored points for the first time this year. Well, what a race.
This was certainly a pretty interesting one.
What a race. An amazing performance from Journey, but also incredible fight from Peter Briac to push him so hard. Look at the gap on the line, 0.298 of a second.
Yeah, Yanni was really... In fact, Yanni's here for an interview, so we can ask him, Yanni, did you almost run out of fuel there at the end?
Yes. I exited the last chicane with less than half a liter of fuel, so engine was coughing already, and I have no idea how I stayed in front there.
Well, congratulations on the win, Journey. Incredibly dominant qualifying performance. Put you in the box seat, and you just managed that race perfectly. You had us on the edge of the seat. How did it feel when those guys were coming after you on their Ultrasofts?
It was really stressful. I didn't think that Musto guys would nail the strategy this much, because they really gained so much time. I had to cover George and Jim. On the other hand, I had to cover the Musto guys, and all on different strategies, so I lost out quite a bit because of that. I had to change the plan, go for softs for the end, and well, at the end I just brought it home in P1 somehow.
Yeah, well, fabulously judged drive. We were looking at it. We just, because you ran long on those softs. Was that 24 laps at the end?
I think 22.
Yeah, 22
maybe
laps on the soft. So it was incredibly intriguing. I can see Peter Briac's in the waiting room as well, if anybody wants to pull him in. But yeah, superb win. That's 2 each now, 2 to you, 2 to Michaeli, and that closes up the championship really, really closely now.
Yes, I hoped after the qualifying that Michele would have like less fantastic strategy, so I would catch him. But I think the gap at the moment is like what is it, 11 points? I think something like that.
I think
yeah, that sounds about right. It was 68 to 50, and of course you've now taken 25 points.
Yeah, but I think he gains 2 points from Bahrain. Biancolillo disqualified. So it should be like 9 points.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, well done, Journey. Fabulous drive, fabulous win. Does anybody else want to ask Journey any questions? And then we might ask Peter Briac.
I think the most important question is, how are you so good at Canada, Journey? Last year you did a fabulous job, and this year you turn up and go on pole by 3/10, while P2 to like P8 is within 3/10. How are you doing this at Canada?
Well, I love the track. quite a lot. Well, the curbs at our version are a bit weird in places, but still I like the track very much. And well, in the past it used to be so that I had way lower wings than other guys, and this year it was just other way around. But somehow my wings worked this time also.
So I might open up by asking Peter Breck a question. Well, first of all, Peter, that was a pretty outstanding performance. I think were you 9th on the grid to manage to get onto the second step on the podium? Fantastic strategy. Did you think you were going to catch Journey at the beginning of that final stint?
Yeah, qualifying was a bit of a disaster for all of us, so we kind of threw the race away right there. Yeah, we didn't know with wings how it's gonna go. Like we saw they had it much higher, but I think we made it work in the race then. That it was a slightly better option. And yeah, first stint I was just in a train, looking after my tires, so I could do a 3-stop, and that was starting to work out in the second stint when people got held up in trains that were 4-stopping. So yeah, in the third stint I was settling into a nice rhythm, and I didn't really know what was Jörne's strategy. But yeah, after coming out in the last stint, I thought maybe there's a chance, but I just ran out of fuel like 2 laps to go, and I couldn't mix anymore. And yeah.
I see. Yeah, so fuel played a part. Did you manage to save a bit of fuel? Because I think at the beginning in the train, were you managing to save some fuel using a bit of DRS and lower mixes?
Yeah, I was. I was in a lower mix than usual and saving some fuel for the middle part end of the race.
Okay. Well, it was still a fantastic achievement, and to get yourself into P2 with less than optimal qualifying was a really outstanding performance. And you had us on the edge of our seats when you left the pits. I think for your final stint, I think you had 8 seconds to gain and about 16 or 15 laps to do it in and on the quick tyre. So we were looking forward to a fantastic climax, which is what we got. So yeah, well done, fantastic race.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I got a question for Michaela. I want to ask, how in that second stint did you manage to go so long on your ultra soft tyres? Because that really made your race in some ways, because you managed to get past some guys and then put a bit of a gap, so you managed to get ahead of that middle, the train in the middle field.
I don't know, because in practice with that fuel I was able only to do like 16, maybe 17 with 1 lap of cliff. But today I've been able to do 18. That is quite good. But yeah, well, the most important, the main part of our race is the qualifying, that we just failed it. Pretty much, we could have been like in the top 3, probably for sure not with Simon Cic, but we could have fight for P2, P3. But we all failed our laps, and that made our race really, really hard. I've been lucky because I qualified 11, and it was perfect, so I could use soft tires at the start. And with harder tires and with higher fuel, it was better. Tires were dying less quickly. So
you really made that work, Michele, because we were watching you and Mishi, obviously keeping a really good eye on you, because you were the first, let's call it prime runners, and you made that work super well. But Mishi got caught behind some people and just didn't manage to clear them the same way you did. So that was a brilliant drive.
I think part of the race today, a part of the result is luck, because I basically did 1 or 2 overtakes in the entire race. 2 overtakes to my teammates and 1 overtake to Gosby and Eros. So I've been lucky because I was always in clean air for the entire race. But the other part is also because of the setup. We managed, well, more Patel and Petra managed to do an awesome setup that was really, really kind with tires. And even with low wings, we were able to use high fuel and manage tires and go very long. And to be honest, the biggest part of this result is thanks to them. Because at the moment I'm not really being really useful for setup for some reason. But as a team we are working together very well.
Well, congratulations, because I mean, as an effort in damage limitation, to come from where you went on the grid and to make the podium certainly did a lot to defend your championship lead. But I think you and Journey and Peter and Mo are going to all have a lot to say about the championship as the season unfolds.
I think we will all four be there for an entire season, and it will be really hard for all of us, because we will totally point each other, because yes, me, Mu and Petra are teammates, but we all want to win them, so it's not always easy.
Well, fantastic. Does anybody else have any other questions for the guys on the podium? I think we might wrap it up then. Congratulations, guys, for giving us such a great race here in Canada. Thank you very, very much for the audience who've joined us, and for all the people who'll join us and watch in future weeks on Catch Up. We look forward to seeing you for the thrilling round 5, which is on the 20th of May in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, where these guys and others will come out and duke it out again to compete for round 5. So for us at SimRacing World Championship, we'll sign out now, and thank you very, very much for coming and joining us for this brilliant race. Thank you, and good evening.
Hey man, I got that new 10X Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
Well, I have